Shalom, 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 Israel. First off, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham. All glory and praises to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. This is Al-Badia / Obadiah, WFI Pittsburgh, bringing you a cold cut. Now, I hope that this cold cut is very edifying, right? We do this to edify our people and to help get your knowledge up and bring you to the next level. So Lord willing, this video will be edifying. So let's go ahead and get into it. And no need to prolong it. Let's go ahead. We're going to start at the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 1. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. I'll read it again. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. That's heavy right there. Because when you come to serve the Lord, He's telling us to prepare your soul for temptation because you're going to be battling some things, Israel. We're going to put off the old man and put on the new man, right? We repenting. So this means we have to be converted. So we're going to be battling the things that we used to deal with. Prepare your soul for temptation, right? Let me go to the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1. It's the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1. And it reads, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. So we doing the Lord a service, and it's an honor to be out here doing the Lord a service, man. It's an honor to do the Lord's will. It's actually an honor to be called up in this truth, man, to be woken up. As you can see, a lot of our people that's in the dead state, man, He chose us, man. It's an honor. It's our job to stay in this thing and not fall out, not be lukewarm, but to press forward and stay on that righteous, narrow path, man. It's our job. We got the brethren to help us with. We got the Lord to help us with it. So there's no excuses, Israel, right? I'm going to read that again. It's the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. Right? And that's why a lot of you out here doing the service of the Lord by waking your brothers up. Right? It's one thing to teach, because a lot of brothers love to teach. But keep in mind, we can't be no hypocrites when we out here teaching, Israel. Don't be no hypocrites. God don't like no hypocrites. So make sure what you teaching is something that you're not doing in this wicked world. Be sure of that, right? That's why you got to stay on this straight and narrow righteous path, man, right? I'm going to go to the book of what I want. Sirach, chapter 2, verse 12. Sirach 2, verse 12. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 12. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. You say, woe to the fearful hearts. Let's go over this thing. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 12. Woe be to the fearful hearts. Fearful hearts. Brothers, that's fearful on coming out to doing the Lord's will. By coming out on the highways and hedges. You know that you're an Israelite. You've been in this thing for quite some time, but you refuse to come on the highways and hedges and do the work. You'll do the work behind the scenes. You'll wake up your loved ones, right? Your immediate family. You may have a few friends that you may do the work with, but coming out in the highways and hedges is where you really supposed to be laboring at. That's where your brothers really need you at. That's what the Lord told you to come, right? To do the real work for the Lord. You shouldn't be sitting behind the computer and learning off of videos, right? Read and stand to yourself, being an individual light. You're supposed to be out here doing the work with your brothers, right? So that's why the Lord say, woe, destruction be to the fearful heart and faint hands. Brothers that don't want to get your hands dirty and doing the real work. And the sinner that goeth two ways. You got 1 foot in this door, 1 foot out. 1 foot in the truth and 1 foot out. It's just so hard for you to let the world go. It's so hard for you to let that weed go. It's so hard for you to stop hustling. It's so hard for you to stop being a whoremonger. It's so hard for you to stop lying and being deceitful, right? I could go on for days. That's what the Lord said. He said, and the sinner that goeth two ways, he believeth not. So that sinner that's going two ways, that got 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out, 1 foot in the truth and 1 foot out of the truth. The Lord said, you believe it not. He believeth not. He truly don't believe this truth, right? Therefore shall he not be defended. So when the danger come upon this earth and this world, right? This world of Israel, you will not be defended. The Lord, the only one that can defend you, right? The angels guiding you, right? Protecting you. The Lord, the Most High, the only one that could defend you, man. Reading on. Woe unto you that have lost patience. You was in this truth. You was holding on. You watching the prophecies. But the Lord is just taking a little, way too long to come back. Right? It say, woe unto you that have lost patience. And that's what you do. You lose patience. You say, I'm tired of waiting. I've been keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments the best of my ability. I've been waiting. I'm going to just fall back. I'm going to keep doing this law, statutes, and commandments, but I ain't going to go out and labor. I ain't going to do it with the brethren. I ain't going to join no camp. I ain't going to let, even though the Spirit be pushing me to go with this camp or that camp or the other, but I'm going to just fall back. Then they start using excuses. It's a lot going on between these camps. This camp don't like that camp. That camp don't like that camp. Look, I ain't getting in the midst of all that. The Lord gonna guide you wherever he wants you to go, man. Why are you using excuses? Let's read on. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? What you gonna do when the Lord visits you? Because you have lost patience. You will not be defended. What you gonna do when the Lord visits you now? When the Lord looks down at you and send an angel your way. You know, the evil angel. The angel that's gonna come and do you harm. What you gonna do then, man? Are you gonna buckle down on your knees and pray? Like most of our people do when they pray in a time of danger? Let's read on, man. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his words. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his words. But the true men of the Lord, the men that still solid in this truth, we ain't going to disobey his words, man. Be grounded in this thing. And it's our job to stay grounded in this thing, right? Stay with brothers surrounding us, right? Letting that brotherly love continue, man, right? Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. Zephaniah 2 verse 1. It's another thing. A lot of brothers don't like to travel to gather together with their brothers, man. You got to gather yourself together. You always gathering together and go out of town and go with your immediate family. But when it comes to your spiritual brothers, a lot of y'all children do not like to grow with your spiritual brothers and build, man. It's a good thing that you were in the camp. I give you that. You coming out. Some of y'all come out diligent, but it's time when brothers is reuniting, right? Getting together. Brothers got to equip with that slothful spirit and get up and go out and meet their brothers, man. Your brethren brothers. Who you think gonna be in the kingdom of heaven? The same brothers that's linking up together. You're gonna be seeing them, right? It's time to get it together, Israel. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. They that love him will keep his ways. It ain't hard, man. It ain't hard to do the will of the Lord. It ain't hard to keep his ways if you truly love him and you truly in this thing, man. There's a book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7, verse 2. And it read, but one of them that spake first said, thus, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the law of our fathers. We're rather to die than to break God's laws, man, to disobey our fathers, man. That's the mindset you have to have, Israel. If you deep rooted in here, that's the mindset you got. And it's a lot of brothers that got that mindset. I've been around them, right? You can see the spirit. You can see through the spirit. You can see who's right and who's not right, man. It's an honor to be in this thing. It's beautiful when the Lord brings you out of darkness into his marvelous light, man. That's the bestest thing that can ever happen to any individual out here, man. It's coming into this marvelous light, man. Being able to look back and see what's truly wrong, what's truly right. To understand that you was chosen. He chose you, right? But our job, we all are called. But our job is to be chosen at the end. So we got to endure unto the end. Matthew 24, verse 13, Israel. You must understand that. He gets the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. Book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients, and be occupied in prophecies. We seeing prophecies all around us, Israel. We seeing plagues hit this place, man. We're seeing the destruction of the Most High raining down terror upon this, using the weather to do it, man. Stirring the people up. Look what's going on in South Africa. Look what's going on in Cuba. Hey, look what's going on in Europe, man. I could keep on naming some things. Because he told us to pray and watch. We got to watch for these things, Israel. Come on, man. It's high time to awake out of sleep. And you brothers, you sisters that's already in the truth, that's already in the know, man, you got to stop being slothful. It's a lot of slothful Israelites out here, man. A lot of slothful Israelites. Let me get the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 6. We got to get it. Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 6. Open your Bibles and follow me along. Take this walk. Take this journey. It's a short one. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 6. And it reads, and it reads, 6 verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. So the Lord is telling us to look at an ant. Have you ever looked at nature, watched the ants? You know how they build, right? Or even when they carrying food away, right? We all done witnessed that. When the ants working together and they be moving. The ants ain't saying to one another, do you need help? Right? You just watch them and they just go help out, live a helping hand just straight like that. They know how to work together. But God is telling us to consider the ant. Look at the ant. Look at the ways, right? There ain't no hate between them, right? The answer's on one accord, man. They trying to get that food from one place to the next, right? They trying to continue to build. That's what they do. They build and they strong. They carry a lot of things, sometimes they body weight. So we got to consider the ant, thou slugger, the Israelites. Some of you brothers out there is just sluggers, right? Don't like to get your hands dirty, right? You got faint hands. We just read that, right? 2nd Ezra 2:12, right? Let me get the book. While we in Proverbs, I might as well get 14:14 while we're here. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 14. Thou backslider, the backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways. A backslider going to be filled with his own ways. Everything he do, he think is going to be right. Right? He's doing enough for the Lord. Even though other brothers may look and see that he ain't. Right? You may have that brother that's slipping to the wayside. Right? That's not on the conference calls. Right? That's not on the group chats. That's not on the Zoom meetings. Right? That's not out laboring. You may have that brother. But God said in Proverbs chapter 14:14, the backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways. He filled with his own ways because he think that he's doing enough already. Yeah, I ain't out there doing none of this labor. I ain't participating with my brothers, but I'm still keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. While we here in Proverbs, let's go to Proverbs 16, verse 2 and see what that says. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. The Lord weigheth the spirit. Right? Let me read that again. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the heart. The Lord, you still going, when it's talking about the Lord weighing something, that means judging something. Right? At the end of this walk, every one of us gets judged. Right? And at the same time, in that judgment, everybody's going to be hoping that they did a good job. You know how you, at school, you get that test, right? You may have studied hard for it, or you might have didn't study at all. You put the work in, but you can't wait to get the results. You want the results so you can see where you at, where you stand. Did you make it? Did you pass it? Did you fail? How bad did you fail? When you pass it, did I get an A? Did I get a B? Right? That's what it's going to be in judgment. You're going to be hoping that you passed it. You're going to be hoping that you passed. Let me get the book of 1 Peter's. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10. It's the book of 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10. That's why the Lord tells us these things. Wherefore, the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fail. If you're making your calling and election sure, that means you're reading, you're fasting, you're praying, right? You're studying, right? You're gathering together, you're laboring. You're doing all these things on one accord, right? You're being obedient. That's what the Lord is looking for, obedient children, right? He's coming back to get rid of the disobedient children, but you want to be that obedient children, right? You want to be that obedient child. I know I do, right? I'm out here to speak the truth. And that old man is gone, right? Let me get the book of what I want. 2 Timothy 2:15. 2 Timothy 2:15, right? It's the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15. Let's see what it says. Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly divided in the word of truth. We got a lot of people that's ashamed of this truth, man. The brothers in the highways and hedges, they ain't not ashamed, man. We're not ashamed of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. And all glory and praises to that thing, man, because there's a lot of brothers and sisters that's in this truth that's is. They hear how we out here on the highways and hedges, right? Rebuking our people. Some say they rebuking too hard, right? They want to do the Lord's work, but they ain't willing to move forward with that fight. Like, you know, they ain't got that fire in them to come out, right? Because they don't want to offend nobody. This sword, it's all about offending and rebuking if you ain't right. If you ain't right, this thing cuts like a two-edged sword, man, and it hurts. That's why people walk on the other side of the street. People will walk literally around the whole other side of the street rather than walk across us, man. Right? The best time to walk across us is if we distracted, right? When we dealing with somebody in front of us. Because we may miss you and not call you out. That's part of the job. That's part of doing the Lord's service. We can't be like your pastors out here just teaching our people good things and not offending nobody. No, we're gonna offend you. We want you to be hurt. We want you to go home and think about what the men of the Lord then told you, right? Because that might just push you to be like, okay, the brothers is right. Let me get on into here, right? So we're gonna go ahead and get to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 33. Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 33. Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 33. We got to see what that says, Israel. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 33. And it reads, Why trimmest thou Slakia? Why trimmest though thy way to seek love? Why trim your ways to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways? Hey, you can't be no hypocrite in this thing, man. You can't be teaching brothers to keep the law if you're not keeping the law yourself. You can't be teaching brothers to be diligent and going hard and stand on fire if you ain't on fire and you ain't diligent in this thing. Don't be no hypocrite out here, Israel. Right? Why trimmest thou ways for love? Why trimmest thou ways for things after this world? Right? You can turn up and have fun in righteousness. I ain't saying that. But a lot of our people like to turn up and have fun in wickedness. And you still got some brothers that's in this truth that be having that 1 foot in and 1 foot out thing. Still going out to clubs and the bars, man. Hanging out. You know what I'm saying? If you go out, always have a righteous brother with you. You know? But we in this thing because we are transformed. We are changed, right? Our job is to become perfect. Let me get that in the book of Matthew. Matthew 5, verse 48. To be specific. Matthew 5:48. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. You got a lot of people that say you can't be perfect. Why would the Messiah tell us to be perfect if we can't be perfect, Israel? It's because you don't want to be perfect. You don't want to strive, so you want to come up with excuses. The Lord said, be perfect even as my Father in heaven is perfect. That means we can be perfect. When you put on a sincere fast, are you made perfect? Whether you fast for a day, 2 days, or 3 days, you perfect if it's a sincere fast, right? Of course we gonna fall again. But you get back up and you strive to be perfect. Let's see what makes us perfect. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 7. Proverbs 19 and verse 7. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 7. All the brethren of the poor. What I want? Psalms 19:7. Salakia, Israel. Psalms 19:7. Psalms 19:7. I'm throwing myself off. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 19, verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The law of the Lord is perfect, changing the soul. Right? The law is perfect, changing the soul. We got to be transformed. We have to change. Right? You come into this truth, prepare your soul for temptation, because you're going to be battling that old man. The battle is within you. Ephesians 6 and 12. Let's get Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 real quick. It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. It's a spiritual battle, Israel. Right? So this goes out to you brothers, man, that can't discern the times. You know the times that we living in, but you still want to slip and fall to the wayside like everything is all good, and in your own mind, you're good. No, we got to make our calling and election sure no matter what, man. There was a brother in IUIC that got shot 3 times, man. He got out the hospital and was back out there within 2 or 3 days with the brothers still doing the work. There ain't no excuse, man. We got a brother Enos in WFI Pittsburgh. Enos. He had surgery on his leg and came back out within the next day. And was out there with brothers, man. After getting the old-fashioned surgery. So there's no excuse for brothers to be missing the way they are, missing camp, man. Don't be lukewarm, especially in these last days. We can't save everybody. It's up to the Lord who he wants to save. And if you're in this truth, you should somewhat know that. Right? Study to show yourself approved. Right? Make your calling and election sure, Israel.